Coming up on Gettysburg Insider.
For really 11 years, we've been farming organically.
We head to Apple Country to visit a sixth-generation family farm. We'll find out what's cooking at Fidler and Company Craft Kitchen.
I want to help to drive a scene in this area. That's what I've always been about.
Artist Wendy Allen lets us into her studio.
You think with being 6'4", 180 pounds, he'd have a larger face, and he really doesn't. It's very compact.
And Chuck Darwin and the Knuckledraggers tell us how their music has evolved.
Next on Gettysburg Insider.
But first, a word about the supporters of Gettysburg Insider. Gettysburg Day Spa, a full-service salon and spa. The Spirit Box, holistic parties, handcrafted jewelry and furniture. Raise the vibration. The Raphael Inn, a bed and breakfast in the heart of Gettysburg. Island Fusion, available for your next party, steel drums, and so much more.
We're heading a bit outside of Gettysburg to the heart of Adams County. Fidler and Company Craft Kitchen and Grocery in Biglerville is well worth the drive. Chef Josh Fidler prepares a made-from-scratch menu, adding a modern spin to classic rustic comfort food.
I just want to make fresh, really good food for people that's in sort of an unpretentious environment. We're not like super fancy, but I think it's very welcoming and warm.
As a teenager, Josh worked in restaurants when he went to art school in California to study photography. He says he enjoyed the variety of cuisines available in California, and he loved his food photography assignments.
And I just really got into like manipulating the food and making it look really nice in college. And then when I got out of college, I had a hard time finding a job in my particular field, so I ended up in the restaurant business, and about 7 years ago became really interested in cooking as a profession. So I sort of switched my life goals and just started studying everything I could.
Josh honed his skills while running the busy kitchen at an Irish pub. When the opportunity came along to purchase his own place, he jumped at the chance.
And it was a nice small operation that manageable that we could get into and kind of cut our teeth. As far as running a whole operation is a lot different than just running a kitchen or one aspect of a business.
The menu at Fidler and Company is small, with a core group of dishes. He also has seasonal chalkboard specials that change depending on whatever Josh is able to get that week.
The board is always changing, and we're always riffing on that, which is really fun.
He tries to source as many ingredients as possible from the local farmers, including cheeses, pork, and chicken. We visited on a Tuesday, which as locals know is pasta night. Josh walked me through the pasta making process.
To me, it's sort of the heart of our restaurant is starting from scratch and making everything from there. And pasta is one of the simplest things, but can be one of the most rewarding. This is something you can definitely do at home too. If you have a food processor and a KitchenAid with an attachment or a hand roller attachment works just fine. So we start with 320 grams of all-purpose flour, and that goes in. Then we do 7 egg yolks and 1 whole egg. And we're going to do just a couple dashes of olive oil. and then 2 nice big pinches of kosher salt.
Josh says the consistency should be almost sandy like couscous. We then slowly add a few drops of water until the dough starts to come up on the sides of the bowl. It should still be fairly dry. Then scrape out the food processor and form the dough into a ball shape on your counter. Wrap it in plastic and let it rest in the fridge for 30 minutes.
And now you can see it's come together. It's a nice dough consistency and it's not too sticky. So we're gonna cut this in half. We'll reserve that half. And I just do just a real light flour. And we gotta start it with a traditional rolling pin. And you'll see, you can tell right away if it's not sticking to the rolling pin or anything, that you've got your hydration just right.
Josh says to roll it just thin enough to run through the rollers on the widest setting. He then folds the dough over, trims the edge, and hand rolls one more time before running through the rollers a few more times. For the fettuccine we're making today, Josh is rolling the dough down to the thickness of setting 4. Then cut off the ragged edge, cut the big piece of dough in half. Now it's ready to become pasta.
So then when you're ready, just put this through. I kind of discard the sides, and then we just loosely wrap it, put it down. Now we're ready to make all kinds of dishes.
So whether you order the pasta or the pork belly, you can see your dishes made from scratch with finesse.
If we're gonna make something and give it and sell it to you, then it's gonna be handmade. It's gonna be, really made with love and all that stuff.
And the local community can taste the love. Josh said he is humbled by how supportive and loyal his customers are.
The support has been overwhelming, just with the amount of regulars that we have coming out here, and we're a little bit out of town, so people have to make a little trip to come out here, which I think is part of the charm of it.
Charming and delicious.
Coming up next on Gettysburg Insider, we visit the Oyler's Organic Farm.
Plus,
It's a big kind of American gumbo.
Chuck Darwin and the Knuckledraggers explain their musical style.
Nestled in the scenic countryside, Oyler's Organic Farm and Market in Biglerville. Bill and Marianne Oyler are the 5th generation to farm the land. Their adult children are the 6th generation. They are in their 8th year of being officially certified organic.
And how much of this land that we can see here is all yours?
We have 360 acres that's certified organic. Pretty much what you see down across here and some behind us where we're standing here today is all of our land. It's all certified organic. My husband just had the interest in doing a more natural way to manage the crops, take care of the soil, and we just feel that it's healthier for us, healthier for the environment. The difference is the materials that you apply to your crops, your farming practices that you use, just different things that you do, and then you are inspected by a certifying agency Our farm itself is certified through Pennsylvania Certified Organic, and they come every year and inspect us, review our records, look at what we're applying and all of the practices that we follow. On the farm here, we produce apples, of course. That's one of our main products. We also do certified organic peaches, and then we have livestock. We do grass-fed, grass-finished beef. We have pastured poultry, pastured pork, and then we do turkeys for Thanksgiving. In the summer months, we grow vegetables that we market through our farm market here. So we're very diversified.
Their products are carried in the Frederick, Maryland and Washington, D.C. areas, at independent groceries and chain stores like Mom's Organic Markets. They also have their own farm market where they sell their products and other organic products from nearby farms. Mary Ann says they have repeat customers who travel quite a distance to come to their market, so they try to stock a variety of organic items that aren't found elsewhere. Oyler's Organic Farms is the only certified organic apple grower in Adams County. Oyler's presses their own organic cider using a mix of their different apple varieties. Apples are the only ingredients. The cider is not heated or pasteurized, but a UV light treatment makes it safe to drink. It's delicious.
It's a lot of apples.
Mary Ann showed me a huge cold storage vault full of this season's apples. Mary Ann tells us Oyler's Organic Farms has 400 subscribers in their CSA program. CSA stands for Community Supported Agriculture. Families buy a season subscription, and in the case of Oyler's Organic Farms, subscribers then receive bi-weekly boxes full of apples, apple juice, and apple cider during the harvest season. Behind me are just a few of the 125 organic turkeys raised this year on the Oyler's Organic Farm. Oyler's receives day-old turkey chicks in July and August. They are pasture-raised and get plenty of fresh air and sunshine before heading to your Thanksgiving dinner table. Mary Ann and other instructors teach classes at the farm, from raising backyard chickens to canning your own preserves.
We do enjoy being a part of the farming community. I grew up in the county. I grew up on a dairy farm, so I went from dairy to fruit. My husband has been here all his life, and we are very much a part of this community in many facets.
Coming up next on Gettysburg Insider, we're going to take you to a gallery called Lincoln into Art, right in downtown Gettysburg.
Plus, Chuck Darwin and the Knuckledraggers tell us about their new album.
There's no shortage of Abraham Lincoln images in Gettysburg, but you might think of Honest Abe in a different way after a visit with artist Wendy Allen. She's invited me to see her studio, which is on the 3rd floor of her gallery, Lincoln into Art. Wendy focuses primarily on, you guessed it, Abraham Lincoln. So this is where all the fun is.
This is Lincoln's life mask. He had 2 done. He really, again, he enjoyed having these done as well. This is the first one that he had done, and I use it primarily as a guide to his physicality and the cheekbones and the lips and the nose. What I'm struck most about this every time I pick it up and use it is how small really his face is.
Wendy's gallery is in a pre-Civil War building on Baltimore Street in Gettysburg. She and the gallery's manager, Elaine Henderson, showed me around. It's amazing to see Abraham Lincoln portrayed in so many different ways.
I just feel that Lincoln's face is so iconic, and I also felt that modern art, studying a lot of modern art, had turned its back on history. So I thought, well, as Lane de Kooning once said, you have to rebel against the painters you love. So I decided to paint something obsessively historic in nature. And Lincoln's face, I just never get tired of it.
How many times can you paint Lincoln?
I think
Before
you get tired of it. I think it's an endless pursuit. I'm always drawn back. I mean, I do other things. I do battlefield scenes, I do landscapes, but I'm always brought back to Lincoln's face. In terms of the future, I want my body of work to be recognized, I think. And just recently, I've had my first show down at the Pensacola Museum of Art. And what was so great for me about that is, or what's so great about it is, that it's the first time an art curator has seen my work and said, interesting, let's put it on display. And that was huge for me. I mean, that's 34 years of painting, and then finally, it was a big turn for me.
One of Wendy's prints was presented to film director Steven Spielberg in 2012. He had just released his award-winning movie, Lincoln. He was in Gettysburg as the keynote speaker on Dedication Day.
And I got to meet him, and he's a super nice guy. It was just a thrill of a lifetime to meet him. Yeah,
that's a nice feather.
Yes. Yeah, it was really something else. I was very excited about that. I wanted to create a realistic portrait, and that's what I came up with. It took me a long time. It was a lot of layering out of paint on paint, never being satisfied. Actually, when it was on display, I would get my palette out and brush and continue working on it, which drives Elaine crazy because it is for sale already, or
Obsessive perfectionist.
Yeah. I was like, oh, there's something bugging me about it, and then hit it again. But I'm happy with it now, and it's used by the Lincoln Forum, which they meet here every year. They give out a Wendy Allen Award to nonprofits who put Lincoln out into the communities. So it's quite an honor.
Another, more abstract portrait of Lincoln was done with leftover house paint and a broom.
And because it dries so fast, so I had a big bucket of water, and I would just do it and work really fast. And I was really happy with the way it turned out.
It's fascinating. I love it.
I love the idea of the emerging Lincoln. I like, because no matter how much you paint of Lincoln's face, it can be the teeniest little part of his face. People know it's Lincoln right away. He's so that's what makes him so much fun to paint.
A more modern take on Lincoln's image also hangs in the gallery. Wendy says for this triptych, she was inspired by Andy Warhol and the pop art movement.
I love this painting, although I get different reactions from people, but I think it's ultra modern, ultra contemporary depiction of Lincoln, and it's based on the same image of Lincoln, although when you look at it, there are 3 very distinct looking faces there. They're very different, and that is very typical of his face. It's a great face.
You know how you were saying this was a pop culture art movement at a certain time in our history.
Right.
You took a man out of history and put him in this history.
Right.
And you've taken him and put him in that history. And it's just so interesting how you've kept him going through the years.
Yeah, it's like most painters have one style and they paint many subjects. I sort of enjoy painting one subject with many styles.
Interesting.
Sort of flip-flop.
Many styles indeed. One of my favorites in the gallery is the portrait of Lincoln walking away. He seems to be in motion and has a spring in his step. Wendy and Elaine are happy to share their love of Lincoln with art collectors and tourists alike. Lincoln into art brings history alive.
Up next, we catch up with Chuck Darwin and the Knuckledraggers. Stay tuned.
Tonight we're in Hanover at the Circle to catch up with Chuck Darwin and the Knuckledraggers. Let's head inside. Chuck Darwin and the Knuckledraggers have been playing together for about a year at venues all over South Central Pennsylvania. Their style is hard to put a name to. They say they are influenced by many types of music, including bluegrass.
But that's the thing that's so cool about it is, bluegrass is a very traditional style of music, and when you go back to a traditional style of music, it's been around a long time, well then you can find similarities with many other traditional roots kind of music. Any kind of string band music goes back to that blues, folk music kind of shared history. And that's kind of where we all kind of got together, and it just kind of fans out from there.
Yeah, I know it becomes one of those kind of vague, all-purpose things like roots or
Right,
Americana.
Yeah, right.
We were together, how much I'm not sure. I stood on your doorstep an hour or more.
It's a big kind of American gumbo of like original like roots music. So
Have you guys always sung into one mic? Is that just the style you like to use?
We've always done it that way.
there's one microphone and everyone has their space around it, and we got to share the space and use the space to its best advantage.
In the pines where the sun never shines.
When one's playing a lead, they take more space. When you're not, you back up and give more space, and it just it seems to have a good sound for the kind of music that we're making too.
Yeah, you have to listen to everybody more closely so that when you're not needed and because somebody else is going to come in, and you can hear each other better because we're all right in a kind of tight little circle.
Stay all night, stay a little longer, dance all night, dance a little longer. Pull out your coat, throw it in the corner, don't see why, don't stay a little longer.
Step up, step back, create some dynamics by moving around the microphone. So when you're singing, you're at one distance.
Go away, little Maggie.
When you are doing a solo on your instrument, it's another one. Everybody's always kind of moving around.
Pretty flowers and me.
And I found it pretty fun to learn. I've never actually done it all that much until I started playing in this group, where I actually have to lug and like put the upright bass on my foot, step over across through the thing, and to be able to move into sing, like, and duck underneath someone's arm and get to there right as the chorus starts. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, and we've bumped into one another tons of times doing that kind of stuff too.
After their show, I caught up with them at their weekly rehearsal at Ben's farmhouse in Bendersville. Their new album, For Educational Purposes Only, was recorded with the help of a friend who is an instructor at the Academy of Media Production in McSherrystown, PA.
He knew that we played around one microphone, and that was kind of the beginning of recorded music and stuff. So he said, hey guys, we want you to come. The kids are gonna learn how to record from one mic. You guys do it as best as I've seen. And so we were like, yeah.
The album has 10 original tracks and is available for download at bandcamp.com.
McNeil, don't steal my automobile. I'll take you to a cafe, buy you a real fine meal. Yeah, Jack, we gotta do me some riding, 'cause we gonna come.
We were unable to fit in a drink segment on this episode, but we will be sure to have one for you next time. Instead, today we're down at the local VFW supporting our veterans.
And don't forget to send us your emails or your videos about something about your town that you're proud of. We'll be happy to put it on the air, or maybe we'll come and see you. This holiday, don't forget your vets.
Stay tuned to Gettysburg Insider. You never know where we're going to end up next.
That's true.
It's an airmail special on a flying day. Listen to the motors humming, see her streak and turn the sky like a bird.